Captain's Vlog Brew Date 13. We've got all our new ingredients and bits of kit in, and we're going again with those new ingredients and methods to try and get closer to that workable kind of show wax that we're looking for.
King Henry, will you do one thing for me? Will you open my right side and find my baby, and find my baby? Oh no, cried King Henry, that's a thing I never can do. If I lose the flower of England, I shall lose the branch too. I shall lose the branch too.
Okay guys, welcome back to the channel. So we're going again, you know the format, you know how it all works. So we have got from last week's blog, I got a small sample of pure white beeswax BP grade from Be Beautiful UK. It's meant to be a good wax, beeswax. A bleached version, so we're going to be using this. Just bought it in a small sample, so I'm still having to stick with small samples at the moment till I start. When I've decided on the final beeswax I'm going to use, then I can start doing bigger brews. Also I'm trying another BP grade offering from Mother's. So white beeswax as well, just to see if I can see any differences between them. Again, I'll probably use them as pure bee and solvent mixes later on to see if I can see any differences in durability and gloss and all that sort of stuff between them. But yeah, so I'm hoping that's going to make a difference. We got the glass mixing Pyrex jug has come in, so that should help with the pores. We've got grapeseed oil, which I ordered in to try and help. Also ordered another carrier I've always wanted to try, which is apricot kernel oil. So we're not using that in this blend, but this stuff I've been using in the last few blends. I found it in the house, it belongs to the missus. So I thought, oh, it's pure lavender oil, it's expensive, so I nicked this off of her. I'm going to drain it all down, and when I finish with it, I'll top it up with a bit of pine oil. She'll never know the difference. What else have we got? Oh, we've also got a thermometer that Anthony recommended to me. It's cheap, it's only a few quid, but apparently it's reasonably accurate and easy to use. So hopefully this thermometer is going to give me a better idea of temperatures. We also got the walnut oil that came in as well. Remember, that's the drying oil that we're using. So, ooh, look at the lid. Forensic Formula 14 we're on now, are we? Yeah, 14 is melting down in there. And I've moved the things around a little bit. So the wax blend has changed ever so slightly. I've gone with 6 grams carnauba, 18 grams of this new Beautiful BP grade white bleached beeswax, 0.5 grams of montan, and 6 grams, even slightly higher, of paraffin. I've gone up slightly with the bee because I want to sort of, I think one of the things I'm trying to do is leave more wax behind. So I'm just going with just raising my wax ratio up slightly, okay? With the last two blends, 12 and 13, I did one very oil heavy and one very carrier heavy and one carrier where I thought it should be, just to again overload and see the effects of it. So it's giving me, again, we're trying to zero in on the overall carrier ratios, but Problem is I'm using completely different carriers this time, so it's a little bit of a, it's not the best way to attack it, but we're just going to keep on rolling. So our carriers are 7 walnut oil, which is drying oil, 8 boiled linseed oil, which I tried before, again it's a drying oil, 16 grams of grapeseed oil. Rather than put in my kiwi oil and my almond and all those other ones, I just want to see what the grapeseed does in terms of gloss, but I'm going to do some separate tests with it as well. And then our normal 3 pine oil and 1 lavender oil that I nicked from the missus. I love that. I love it when I get free ingredients and she doesn't know. It's on her. She costs me enough money, so it's good when I get something back. And solvent wise, we're going, so that's 35 grams of carrier overall. 7 walnut, 8 boiled linseed, 16 grapeseed, 3 pine, 1 lavender. And then carrier, we're going 45 carrier, which is the phase, 80 flashpoint phase, 44 grams of it, and 1 gram of D-limonene. So we're sticking with our solvent, sorry if I said carrier, solvent ratio, roughly the same, okay? I'm still trying to source the D40 and some more D80 from another source that's hopefully going to come in, because I want to check out that D40 and what that's giving me. So that's still melting down. I'm just going to leave that. Actually, what's melting? I just want to check these temperatures. So I think it was the carnauba that starts melting when it gets, was it 75 degrees? I can't remember. And the Montane was 85. So you need to get these pretty hot. You know, this room temperature here is saying it's 21.5, which sounds about right. It's going up actually. 21.7, 21.8. Where I touch it, it's going to go up, isn't it? But I'm just going to stick this in here and see what temperature we're at. Just give it a little mix. So this is my wax and solvent, sorry, my wax and oil in here, all blending together. Let's have a look at our temperature. Can you see this? Just about. Let's shift this over a little bit. Let's just let that warm sit in there. So I'm expecting this to go up to at least 50 or 60 degrees. So we're at 45. It's going to keep going, isn't it? It's going to keep going. Oh, another thing. Anthony sent me his latest version. I think this is the version that he's selling on the. If you go onto Facebook, there's all these homebrew channels like the Detailing Addicts Homebrew and Detail Central Homebrew, and there's loads of them. Just put in, kind of search for wax and homebrew channels, and there's a lot of guys that make these and sell them. So Anthony sent me his latest one. It's all branded with a really nice logo. And I haven't had a chance to put this on a full car, but I had to play around with it. It seems a bit more hydrophobic than the last one he sent through. Slightly harder, but it's not hard. It's where it needs to be. Couldn't find anything wrong with this wax. I noticed it hazed up a bit more than the last one. Still goes on and comes off nice. So I think Anthony's now got this for sale, the DBLA AA wax. So if you join those channels, you can get yourself a pot of this sample and see what you think of it. Yeah, we're at 60 degrees there. So I can see actually most of the wax is melted apart from some little bits, some little flakes of the Nuba. So it just needs to get a bit hotter to fully melt that down. So I can see the little flakes in there still. So let's let that keep going. I was half tempted to put, even though I'm not sure if it's what I'm going to do with the final one, just try maybe a little bit of scent and colouring in there, but I think I'm probably going to skip that for now because I'm still focused on the actual how the wax is going to come out. Oh, and while you're here, the only other thing, I'm not sure if I mentioned this in the other post, all the testing is now finished for the PVD issue 3 detailing spray magazine, which was great fun to go and test all these spray sealants and detailing sprays and sort of assess them and all that sort of stuff for the magazine. So I've had, you know, good fun. Very, very tough when you're doing that many products. It's taken me a long time, but I've loved doing it. So yeah, that's all finished now. So I'm going to be clearing out these detailing sprays. But some really fantastic products out there, and well worth a read of the next issue of the Professional Valeter and Detailers PVD magazine. And you can put that in Facebook and find the PVD page, and you'll see it. You'll see where it's going to be sold. You know, you can also look that up on Google, the PVD, Professional Valeters and Detailers website, and they'll be buried within that page. You'll be able to find where they're selling the magazine on there as well. Right, so this wax is now, I would guess, where are we temperature wise? We are 86 degrees. Oh no, we're 90, that's hot. Oh, we're in Fahrenheit, that's what I need to go back to Celsius. There we go. This has got to be more than 70 for sure. Let's see if I can get that. Going up, we're over 60. Now what I want to do is blend this solvent in while that's just catching up. Just make sure this is sealed, just make sure that delimiting is mixed in with it. What I'm going to try and do is keep the temperature of the wax. I'm going to try and put the solvent in slowly to not lower the temperature of the wax. So we're getting up to 70 degrees. We must be beyond that. Let's just keep that sealed. You almost got to keep this thermometer in there all the time. So we're going up all the time at the moment. So we're hitting 70 degrees now according to this, and it's still rising. So that Carnauba and Montan has melted at a slightly lower temperature than I expected. So now we're going to put our solvents in and try and keep this well above 70 degrees. So I'm just going to pour a little bit in at a time. That's it. So that hasn't caused the wax to kind of solidify at all, which is good. Just going to put a bit more in. That's it. Not good. This is good. It must be quite hot because it's going in without creating a sort of trail of wax like a lava lamp. So it's staying nice and loose. In fact, I'm just going to open the door while I've got these solvents because they will get in your eyes and your nose. You don't want to be wafting in loads of solvents into your lungs. So what I'm going to do is just keep heating this for a little while and just keep blending it to make sure it's all mixed together. And now what I want to do is lower the temperature of the wax down before I pour it, okay? So I'm just going to drop the temperature. and I'm interested. Obviously don't want it to start clouding up and setting before I pour it, but I want it as low as I can. I think this is just what I've kind of been told. I want the temperature as low as I can, so it's at the point where it's just starting to turn back into a wax, and then do the pour. So that's what I'm aiming for, and I want to observe the temperature at which that happens. So you can see there, we are still rising on the temperature, so that's going to keep going up. So no pouring yet. So the temperature seems to be levelling off, or increasing less quickly, but it's still going up, and we're over 70 now. I'm worried about this being a little bit cold and dropping the temperature of the wax too quickly. So maybe I should kind of dunk this in warm water or something to get some energy into it. But our temperature's leveled off now, and it doesn't seem to be rising. So we're at about 71 degrees, and it still seems all loose. What I'm going to do is just keep watching the wax, watching it and watching it. And when I think it's just getting to that point where it's going from a really loose, like jelly mix, and it starts to thicken, and you start to see it you get little streaks of clouding just before it gets to there, that's when I'm going to pour it. So I'm kind of thinking around about 60 degrees is the temperature I'm going to pour. So if anyone knows if that's kind of too hot or not, let me know. But that's what I'm going to aim for. Okay, so I actually decided to heat this up a little bit because I didn't want it affecting the temperature. So it's just got a little bit of warmth in it. So if it's cold, the glass, it's going to absorb a hell of a lot of energy, I'm figuring, out of the wax. So I've just ran it under really hot water so I can feel the glass has got some heat in there. Make sure it's dry on the inside. Okay. So we are at 60 degrees. In fact, we're lower than 60. Somewhere around about 58 degrees. So let's get ready to pour this. Let's put this back on a little bit. Keep it hot and wipe it out while it's all liquidy. Get all the wax out of it. Just want to see where we are temperature wise. See when the top of that wax hits all that bit, it's waxed up. So I think actually I need to get this poured now. It's definitely starting to solidify. So I'm going to just finish these off. I can't do complete staggered pours or this is going to go hard. So I think I learned something there. I think I was too low on my pouring temperature because when I got it into the beaker, it was starting to wax up. So what I want to be able to do is get it high, do an initial pour, and let the pores, I think, a staggered pour, so they start to settle. I'm just thinking, how do I keep the temperature up in the beaker, but I can't really. So it's something to think about. And there it is, Forensic Formula 14. It's literally only just set, so it looks good. We are going to leave this now for a day to fully cure. Like I say, I didn't get a lot of the beeswax, so I'm going to be playing around with this beeswax now for an hour or so, however long I've got. So this was just a mini brew, and I said in the last one, I want to get out of the habits of doing these small brews. So once I decide on the beeswax that I'm going to be using going forward, the brew sizes will increase, and that means we can get started. There's a few people that sent me messages for samples and stuff, so when I start doing the bigger brews, we'll get some samples out. At the moment, I managed to make 3 of these, and there's a couple of guys that I've said I'll send these off to, so yeah, later brews there'll be more samples. What I'm hoping from this wax is, 1, the quality of the beeswax to make a big difference, 2, the drying oils to actually make a difference to the finish when those oils have dried. So our aim was to actually get the feeling that we're leaving more wax behind than we have done before, so that's really important. So we'll see, and we'll do some testing of this wax tomorrow and see how we get on. So since starting this kind of this whole thing and creating the Forensic Detailing Facebook page, which is now up and running, it's probably the easiest way. If you want to contact me, you can contact me through that Facebook page. I've had a whole load of people that have contacted me through the page or through the email or through the channel, you know, that have gone and got started and gone down this road, and that's fantastic. And I'm learning things as they go down the road as well and feed stuff back, so that's great. So anyone watching this thinking, should I go and get started? My advice is yes. And this is what I wanted to end this vlog piece on. So you need to go and get that wax heater that I'll put a link in the description for. You need your thermometer. You need a good pouring beaker. You need loads of sealable cosmetic pots. That I got these from Ampoula, or you can get aluminium ones from Ampoula or other sources. They need to be sealable so that the air can't get in. So you need a load of those to be able to do your pours and send them out to people and stuff to get feedback. You need to go and buy the waxes. Now my advice is, the best place I think is Carchem, because you can buy a kilo of the wax and they're about sort of 15 to 20 quid for a kilo of these waxes. You can get them cheaper, okay, but the thing I've learned, I didn't learn this till later on, that you have to be careful. The quality of the waxes is really important, really important. And if you're going and buying the cheapest ones on eBay, there's some good sellers on eBay, don't get me wrong, but the problem is when you're out there looking to buy waxes and you're Googling T1 Nuba wax and that, you don't know anything about the quality of all these different guys that are on eBay. So my advice to you is, when you're starting, just get all your wax from Carchem. Yes, you can get it cheaper if you go hunting around eBay, but you're less likely to know what you're getting, okay? So someone might give you a recommendation. I had a few of some sellers like Be Beautiful UK on eBay that do a good beeswax and stuff like that. But if in doubt, get your wax from Carchem. Your solvent, get your solvent from Carchem to start off with, because it's a good workable solvent. It's low aromatic. It has the right strength to be able to dissolve that wax down and keep it soft and without vaping away too quickly if you ever don't do the jar up too tight or whatever. And its characteristics of how it vapes away on the car once you've laid it out are just about right, just about workable. Now that line could get more complex. You know, initially when I had a higher expectation of, I wanted my natural wax to go on and haze up tough and leave this thing. That's been done by polymers, not solvents. It's been done by other chemicals in these wax additives. So that will get you started, that solvent. That's the biggest tip. Get good quality waxes, get your good phase solvent, get that heater that I said about, get your pots, get your thermostats, get a good mixing device. I'm using wooden ones because they don't scratch the metal on the, I'm just using wooden sticks. because they don't scratch the metal on the pan, but you can get proper chemistry kit stuff, you know. You need that heater though. So everything's in there throughout all the vlogs of what you need to go and do. And we're ending this vlog on what I think is quite a workable blend. Now they're starting to get quite complicated, these blends. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 ingredients in there. If I put some fragrances and stuff in there, you could be up to 15 ingredients quite quickly. What I'd say, really important bit of advice, when you start, pick 2 waxes, and I'd say start with beeswax and carnauba, and do a blend that focuses on 2 waxes. Okay, and also when you start, do those tests where you just do a pure blend with carnauba and a pure pure blend with beeswax, and have a look and study, get it working. You'll have to use different ratios of carriers, but use the same carriers and solvents in different ratios to get an idea of how those 2 pure waxes function and what characteristics they give you in terms of gloss, in terms of durability, in terms of repelling kind of contaminants and water behaviour, and really look at that and do that test first and really get an understanding. And that will help you then later on when you're adjusting your carnauba and beeswax ratios, when you've got a blend of both of them, that will help you understand what you need to do in terms of solvent and carriers to compensate a little bit more. So that's one thing I should have done earlier on that I wish I'd have done earlier. So now I've got quite a good, not good understanding. I mean, this is, you know, I ain't Dr. David Banner or whatever. This is still basic stuff, but I've got a little bit of an understanding of what I need to do in terms of carriers if I radically change the amount of carnauba in my blend or something like that. So from just playing around with them. So yeah, start with 2 waxes, beeswax and carnauba, and get a working blend with those 2 first. With your carrier oils, I'd forget about the pine oil initially. I'd forget about the pine oil and the lavender oil to start with. So just carnauba and beeswax, and then 2 carriers. I'd have 1 carrier that's a drying oil, and I'd probably recommend you start with the walnut oil as your drying carrier oil, and then another oil as your gloss based one that's less of a drying oil, and it's going to hang around a bit longer and give you that kind of extra hit you get of gloss for the first few days. Now that grapeseed oil seems to be good. I also, just playing around with them, I also like the kiwi, and I also like the almond, and I also like the apricot oil. Okay, the coconut oil, the jury's out on that one still. I think someone said to me it's good for softening down the wax and making it more workable. So maybe you could put a bit in for that, but I'm not sure. It's something for me to play around with a little bit later on. So that's my advice: 1 drying oil, and I'd go with the walnut oil, and 1 carrier, gloss carrier. You know, like I just said, grapeseed, apricot, almond, whatever you want to do. You play around with those yourself, lay out your carriers, study them, do blends with them, and see if you can spot any differences from doing these blends with these carriers. Okay, I think using the delimonene in the solvent as well helps for removing the wax. I've yet to find out. I've ordered that D40, that Xenon D40. I've yet to find out what that's going to give me, so that's something I'm going to be playing around with for future brews. So at some point, you know, this wax vlog could go on forever, and what's going to happen is if it keeps going on like this, you know, people are going to lose interest. So I wanted to kind of draw a line in the sand slightly in terms of the vlog has delivered what I wanted it to deliver, and that is to get people that are watching to go and brew their own waxes, you know, and get more people into it and all that sort of stuff, because it's good fun. And I think this, if you're into detailing, I think it's quite cool. The idea of being able to put your own waxes down on your car, I think is a really cool thing. And it's difficult enough to do that it's worth doing. If it was really easy, everyone would be doing it and there'd be no fun. This is a lifelong hobby that you could be doing forever. And like I say, the synthetic chemical additive side of it is a side that you will probably need to go down if you really want to enhance the characteristics of your wax, even if it's gloss, you know, gloss boosting polymers, even if it's durability, you know, maybe silicone polymers or something. If it's water behavior, you know, you're looking for really hydrophobic kind of resins that you can put in there, you're going to end up going down the chemical additive route, which is where a lot of the commercial waxes go. That is something that I can't really, you know, that's something that I'm not going to be kind of blogging and you know, showing you kind of all these chemical additives going into the waxes, because that's going to get too complicated. But it's something I'm probably going to be playing around with now for the next few years, hopefully, because I'm interested in doing it and learning. That's what it's all about. I will keep doing the occasional wax vlog update. We'll probably be on Forensic Formula 2 million by the end of the year, and I'll have even less hair because I'll have pulled what's left out of my head. But for the time being, these vlog entries are going to probably ease down a little bit. Like I say, the idea was to get you guys that are watching doing this, and there is definitely enough information if you've been watching all these vlogs to get you to where I am, and that's at a stage where I'm now firing arrows into a board trying to hit the bullseye. I'm still missing the board every now and then. Okay, I'm waffling, but I'm getting my aim's getting a bit better because of all this practicing. So that's what it's all about, guys. So in summary, the wax vlogs will tail off a little bit, and we'll be turning our attention back to some more kind of everyday detailing stuff. We will be shooting soon a best of air fresheners, which is something I've had these kicking around for a while. Just haven't had the time to play around with them and kind of try and assess them properly. And we will be turning our attention to some detailing on this thing here. So if we spin this round, this little beauty here, so we're going to be doing a full detail on this car, which is an E46 M3, so that's going to be fun. Let's get that back. So as always, thanks very much for tuning in. If you haven't checked out the Forensics Detailing Facebook page, then it's there, Forensic Detailing channel, I think it's called, and you can use that as an easier way of contacting me and sending me pictures or stuff, you know. It's a better medium to communicate. So that's it for the our run of Forensic Formula waxes for the time being. I really hope you guys have enjoyed it, and like I say, it's been great fun to do.